Christ our Lord. Amen. Come away with me. Come away to a quiet place. Come away to a deserted place where you can find peace, where you can rest. Come away to a place where you can speak with God. Come to a place where you can hear him respond. Come away with me. Come away and rest. The Gospel of Mark is full of hustle and bustle. Each chapter is packed with a series of encounters, events. Each page full of names and faces and changes of scenery. Everything happens quickly, straight away, immediately. In an article on the website Christianity.com, theologian A.W. Pink writes, "A characteristic term of great frequency in Mark's Gospel is the Greek word eutheos, which is variously translated straight away, immediately, etc. Notice a few of the occurrences of this word in the first chapter alone. Verse 10, straight away coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens opened, and the Spirit like a dove descending upon him. Verse 12, and immediately the Spirit drove him into the wilderness. Verses 19 and 20, he saw James the son of Zebedee and John his brother who were in the ship mending their nets, and straightway he called them. Verse 21, and they went into Capernaum, and straightway on the Sabbath day he entered into the synagogue and taught. Verse 29, and immediately when they were come out of the synagogue, they entered into the house of Simon. Verse 31, and he came and took her by the hand, and lifted her up, and immediately the fever left her. Verse 43, and straightway charged him, and immediately sent him away. In all, this word is found no less than 40 times in Mark's Gospel. There was no tardiness about Christ's service, but straight away he was ever about his Father's business. And yet, in the midst of all that busyness, Jesus regularly made time to pray. He was found at regular intervals going off by himself to rest and to pray. Or at least, he regularly tried to. Chapter 1, verse 12 to 13, he began his ministry with 40 days in the wilderness, with God alone there to sustain him. Chapter 1, 35 to 36, he got up early to go to a quiet place to pray, and his disciples had to hunt for him. Chapter 3, 13, great multitudes were following him, so he went up a mountain and called his closest disciples to come with him. In chapter 6, from which we heard a few selected verses today, in verse 31, Jesus invites the disciples to a time of rest, saying to them, come away to a deserted place all by yourselves, and rest a while. For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. But it was not to be, for a crowd went on ahead and met them there. And he ended up teaching them, and ministering to them, and feeding them. But immediately afterwards, chapter 6, verses 45 to 46, Jesus sent the disciples on ahead of him and went up on the mountain to pray. And so it continued. Chapter 7, 24 to 25, Jesus had gone to the region of Tyre, and he did not want anyone to know where he was, but he could not escape notice. And the Syrophoenician woman came and begged him to heal the daughter. chapter 9, verses 2 to 3, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John and went to a high mountain apart by themselves. And there he was transfigured before them. Finally, chapter 14, verse 2. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." In preparation for what he had to do, and in the midst of all that busyness, whenever he could snatch a few minutes for himself, Jesus tried to find a place where he could be alone, or with a few of his closest friends and disciples. He tried regularly to make time to rest and time to pray. In the wilderness, in a quiet place, up a mountain, or on the other side of the lake, and once, memorably, in a garden, when he was about to die for our sake. Come away and rest for a while. This is our deserted place, our quiet place, our place to find rest. Here in the church is where we come away with Jesus and spend time resting in the presence of God. This is where we come to be refreshed, to recharge our batteries, to be renewed in our understanding of God's call in our lives. This is where we come, carrying everything to God in prayer. This is where we sit at the foot of the cross and meditate on the sacrifice of Christ. This is where we receive the gift of his body and his blood, coming together around his table to receive the promise of new life. Come away with me, Jesus said. Come away to a quiet place. Come away to a deserted place where you can find peace, where you can rest. Come away to a place where you can speak with God. Come away to a place where you can hear him respond. Come away with me, Jesus says. Come away and rest. The place we go to find rest is the church. But rest itself is not the goal, and rest is not the mission of the church. Jesus' times of rest were times to recharge, to renew his relationship with the Father, and to ready himself for the work that lay ahead. Over and over, as he sought time to pray, his time alone was interrupted by individuals or by crowds, desperate for healing and in search of good news. And Jesus did not prioritize his prayer over their needs. But as we heard in 6:34, he had compassion on them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd. And so he taught them and fed them and cared for their needs. And so must we. We do not come to church to meet our own needs, but to give God the glory for all that he has done, and to renew ourselves for the work in which he has called us to share. There's an old saying often printed at the end of bulletins and on occasion posted at the back of the church above the door where people will see it on their way out. The worship is over, but the service begins. The worship is over, but the service begins. Whereas the dismissal says, go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Come and rest. Go and serve. This is the alternating rhythm of Christian life when we follow in Jesus' footsteps. With Jesus always on the move as our example and guide, we find ourselves so busy, always with something to do. A friend to visit, a neighbor to help, a community project to serve on, a role to play in our church. Not to mention the everyday demands of work or school or family. But we could do more. We could cultivate in ourselves the immediacy of Jesus' compassion and the swiftness of his response. We could put aside our own desires more often to meet the needs of others. Yes, I say that even of myself. And yes, I say it even to those of you who already feel burdened by what you do. For Jesus has promised that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. He has shown us that the work should be done out of compassion, of a turning of the heart toward the other. The word compassion is derived from the idea of co-suffering, sharing in the suffering of the other, understanding their needs from the inside as if they were our own, and feeling the other's needs as if they were our own. How could we fail to act? Jesus' compassion was what is known as active compassion. Compassion that does not just empathize, but goes beyond, striving to eliminate suffering, always trying to alleviate needs. But in the midst of that busyness, at regular intervals, in those brief in-between times, and especially when faced with a difficult task, or when we especially need to prepare ourselves for what lies ahead, in those moments, we should go away. Go away to a quiet place. Find ourselves a mountaintop, or a field, or a sandy spot by the side of a lake, or just a green spot under a tree in a park. Or come to this place. Sit by ourselves in the presence of God, or gather with his disciples and together seek God's will. Take time to express to him our doubts and fears, and take time to listen for his reassuring response. To rest, be renewed, be recreated. To eat and to drink, to care for our bodies, and seek restoration for our souls. Not for our own sake, but for the sake of the example that he set, to seek out the lost, and to feed the hungry, to heal those in need, and to teach those who are eager to learn, following in his footsteps, and doing as he did. Come and rest, then go and serve, for Jesus' sake, and in his name. I have spoken to you today in the name of God the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.